assistant. Okay, recording in progress. Justin is the president and assistant teaching professor at the University of Arizona, Tempe. Deborah Suarez, she is the immediate past president of the board, and she is now growing her consulting practice, which is called Uplifting Teachers, supporting teachers, educators worldwide. Jorge Torres Almazan, I don't know if he has been able to join us yet, but he's also on the board. He's academic coordinator for the language division of the American School of Tampico, Mexico. And finally, Cynthia Wiseman, professor of academic literacy and linguistics at City University of New York. So indeed, we have a very illustrious group of members of the board. And we are going to be, I'm sure, delighted to hear what they have to say. Before we get started, any question from one of the members of the panel or from Gwen? Or Gwen, do you have any business that you have to share with the audience?
No, I think, yeah, I've covered all that before, but I can just mention it again for people who just had shown up that we are recording this, and just to keep yourselves on mute for now, and to put any questions you have into the chat. Feel free to welcome or to let people know where you're from. But yes, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, perfect. Well, then let's get started. And I will repeat, I'm very excited to launch this year-long celebration of our 60th anniversary. And I was sharing earlier with the group that has put together the celebrations, a panel of longtime members of TESOL. I was remembering the celebration of the 40th anniversary and the 50th anniversary, and now it's the 60th. So there is a lot that has happened over the last 60 years in the field, and I'm sure that none of us has been there as members of TESOL for 60 years anymore. But if you look, and this is a question for every member of the panel, so all of you, I would like to ask you, in your time as TESOL member, what is one moment of impact that stands out to you? One moment in the 40 years, the 60 years of this organization, in the time that you have been a member of the organization, the association, what moment has impacted you, and perhaps why? And anybody can start. Well, Cynthia, since I'm seeing you first, why don't you get started?
That's a hard one, but and
It
thank
is.
you for that intro, and thank you for hosting, and thank you TESOL for hosting this panel, organizing, and thank you, Gwen. I think, but what popped into my mind was the TESOL convention in New York City when David Crystal came. I thought that, there were so many different conventions, but for some reason, I think that era, those years, we had a lot of, incredible speakers and leaders in the field. And I think I was so inspired as a younger person, as a younger professional. I think that stands out. It's moments at the convention that stand out.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Cynthia, would you like to invite the next person? Cynthia, you're muted, so nobody can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I thought that I had unmuted myself. Okay. All right. So next, I will call on Jorge.
Yeah, I saw that Jorge
raised his hand. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Federico. Glad to be here. For me, one of those moments is the first time I attended the TESOL convention, because it was my first time also presenting at the TESOL convention. So it was like the two things together. First time attending, first time presenting. Let me tell you something. The day before, I review again and again my notes for the session. an hour before. I review my notes again and again. I was really anxious, nervous, and happy at the same time. But after, let's say, 3 or 5 minutes, I was really, really enjoying the session. In that moment, I discovered the wonderful community TESOL is, because all the attendees make me feel welcome, and they were all like very friendly in many ways. So the anxiety and stress went away, and I had a great experience that day, and not only because it was my first time attending, but also my first time presenting. So it was wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And I'll nominate next Deborah.
Thank you, Jorge. Echoing the gratitude that's been expressed already for everyone here, Federico, of course, and Gwen, and just everyone. So if my math is correct, and it might not be, which is why I'm an English teacher, I do believe this is my 35th year of membership.
Wow.
And so I'm really, my goodness, maybe my math's wrong, but I believe it's correct. So one of my favorite moments was, I guess I was a member for about 10 years, and it was at the conference, and I was chatting with some TESOL staff at the TESOL booth. And one of them said, "Oh, Deborah, could you just watch the booth for a minute? I just need to run over there." I said, "Sure," because that's what we do. We help out. So I stood behind the TESOL booth, and guess who came up? It was James Elatus came up to me. And we all know James Elatus, founding member. And he had this little gleam in his eye. And he said, "Excuse me, but can you tell me what TESOL stands for?" And I knew his name, of course, and so it was just a moment to joke and chat. But I will never forget that, because he just came over so friendly and just so inviting and just full of humor and good cheer. And I will always remember James Elatus for that moment. And I've had many moments in TESOL. I think I will pick Araceli.
Thanks, Deborah. Well, it was 2020. I was beginning my leadership journey, and the pandemic started. I was crying because I had everything ready. But you know what was so impactful and impressive? The way everybody, the community, as Jorge was saying, the community, what we did together, we made it happen. We made the magic happen. So that was something that really, really is going to be with me. And I wanted to contribute, and I wanted to do something for my association, for my TESOL association.
And we thank you for that. Thank you. Wonderful. Araceli, who's next?
Now I'm going to call Clarissa.
Larissa.
Thanks, Araceli. My favorite moment just goes back to 1999, and probably this, Cynthia, what you mentioned, TESOL in New York City. This is the time when my mentor from the program, Junior Faculty Development Program, Christine Meloni, we went to the TESOL conference. And she prepared all the session agenda in advance, starting like 7 a.m., I think, very early morning. And I went to the building, walked like 45 minutes to all the sessions and spent all the day at the conference. And the favorite moment was meeting her co-authors, because she was working on the book, Internet and English Teaching, with Mark Forshauer and Heidi Schetzer. And I met them in person. And what is the most favorite of that I switched my major at that time. That book just changed my career. I taught English, and now I'm teaching educational technology. So connecting these two together. And when I applied for PhD program at Purdue University, this is where I met Luciana from TESOL. This is how we're connected again. So two favorite moments, like going through mentorship. That like I think it's the beauty of TESOL community. I would uh, Jim,
Oh,
call Jim.
thank you. I think if I was to think back about what moment had impact on me, when I think back to when I started teaching, my view of teaching was such a small worldview at the time. I had the textbooks that I'd got from, the practicum and the courses that I'd done, and it was as big as my school. And so once I sort of ventured out and went to my local teaching organization, that worldview expanded a little bit. And then ultimately, I ran into TESOL Ontario, which is an affiliate of TESOL. And about 11 years ago, TESOL and TESOL Ontario held a convention at Toronto, and that was the first TESOL for me. And it was a real thrill to be able to meet those people that had written the textbooks from when I started, and to realize the sort of the scope and the scale of how large our membership and our organization really is, and all that can be accomplished with it. And so that would be the impactful moment for me. And if I had to pick someone next, I don't think Drew's gone yet, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, Drew.
Thanks, Jim. Everyone, hi. It's such a pleasure to see all of you. And again, thank you everyone for having us here today. Thank you, TESOL. A lot of people are talking about their first times here. And one specific thing I want to talk about with my first time at TESOL was 2004 Long Beach. And I was a student of Ann Johns. You might know her from genre. And she brought me to TESOL. And she brought me right up to Marianne Celsi Murcia, and she introduced me to her, and I knew her from the textbooks. I didn't know anything else about her, and very relaxing, very fun to talk with. I was introduced to Martha Clark Cummings, who was actually in charge of the LGBT caucus at the time. And being a member of that community really helped me bring together my own identity with my professional identity. And I felt so welcome in this association. I was very scared to go to at the very beginning. It was very overwhelming. And I felt at home day one with people. And I've heard this story over and over again with people who come into our association. And that's something that really makes TESOL very unique. And I'm just very lucky to have met so many people day one, my very first TESOL convention, and I continue to do that as well. So I just want to thank TESOL for that. Justin, you're up.
Thank you. Yeah, there's so many different moments. I have two things, I guess, that I'll share. I'm pretty sure it was in 2008 in New York, but I remember I was walking down the hallway and there was this door that was part of the wall, like at convention centers, sometimes there's this door that's like, can't really tell it's a door. And it was open there, and Christine Bauer Ramazani was standing by it, talking to people and waving them to come into the electronic village. And she stopped me in the hall and she says, "Do you like technology?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she literally grabbed my arm and pulled me into the electronic village because I didn't know what it was at that time. So that, of course, got me introduced to the Call IS, and I started working at the Electronic Village, volunteering during conventions. And I remember I came to a conference with my boss. We were roommates at the convention. And his comment at the end was, "You work harder here than you do back in Arizona. What's up with that?" Because I would leave the hotel room like at 7 a.m. and come back like at 11 p.m., and so just I remember that, it's like my wife thinks, because she sees my Facebook account, right? And we post pictures of, "Hey, we're meeting with this group and wonderful dinner here. It's so great to see all these friends." And so she thinks that TESOL conferences are like vacations. And I had to show her my step count from Chicago. It was like 50,000 steps a day from all the walking that we did. So.
If I may, Justin, before you ask somebody else to follow you, you said something about working until 11 p.m. And sometimes we work really hard during these conventions. Why do you think that is? Why is it that this association may entice us to work that hard?
Oh, that's such a great question. I think it's because we get inspired. You know, I remember even just the last conference in Long Beach, I was standing in line waiting to get lunch or something, and I was listening to these two teachers talking who were from, gosh, I forget the state now, Wisconsin or someplace like that. And it was their first convention, and they were talking about all the wonderful things that they had heard, and they inspired me to, just that kind of experience just inspires me, and I want to help other teachers have that experience, right? That's one of the reasons I think a lot of us have volunteered to serve at
Yeah.
TESOL, is to give back to the community that's inspired us so much. So I feel inspired at my job too, but not like I do at the TESOL convention. So
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad that you said that because I think it is fantastic to belong to an organization that inspires its members to get more and to reach more and to give more. Who is next? Justin or Henry?
gosh, now I'm trying to think who hasn't gone yet. Um,
Member of the board who hasn't gone? Identify yourself.
I
I think
think
everybody has
everybody
gone
has.
now.
Yeah. I think I
I
was the
think we're
last
good
one
on
to
that
go.
one. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Then we have a follow-up question for all of you members of the board, and this time I will call you to make sure that we go straight through this very quickly. The question is, we already talked about a moment that stands out in your years in TESOL, but looking forward, what do you hope TESOL will achieve in the next decade? And let's start with James.
Um, I think just more success. Obviously, continuing to support members, and this is a changing time. I think we all recognize that with technology and that's having a deep impact on education in general. And so I imagine that we will be at the cusp and the forefront of dealing with that as an organization.
Very good. Larissa, what do you hope for the next decade?
So just inspiring, continue inspiring teachers, growing and keeping this unique spirit of TESOL and TESOLers, and hopefully see each other every year, maybe more than once a year together, and just growing as a
Growing.
community.
Very good. Drew.
I think a key thing for the next decade is really thinking outside of the box in terms of who affects our multilingual learners at all levels, and how can we expand the populations that we are trying to reach as an association in our field, just to make sure that we're able to bring everyone to the table to make sure that they all understand their part in our multilingual learner success. Because there are a lot of people out there who make very macro decisions about these students and their educators, and
Yeah.
they don't realize what they're actually doing. And that's something which we should be thinking about moving forward for the next decade.
Very good. Let me ask you a follow-up question, Drew. What do you mean by thinking outside the box?
Moving beyond the traditional populations that we have been focusing on. So yes, our ELD teachers, our ESL teachers, our ESOL teachers, whatever acronym you would like to use within our field, they are definitely at the center of what they're doing. They are the experts, but they can only go so far. They hit a ceiling. And then the people above them who make the decisions to see whether or not they can actually try the new practice, that they can try to incorporate what they're getting from SLA research, whether they're able to actually bring together assessment understanding. Those people might unknowingly be hindering them because of their lack of understanding.
Right.
So it's important to make sure that when we're thinking about who we want to reach in terms of addressing our field, we think outside the box in terms of the different populations we're trying to reach that affect the teaching of our multilingual learners.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So next, Araceli.
Yeah, I hope TESOL keeps pace with the changing needs of our membership, students and teachers. I think we need to be one step ahead, as we have always been. So keep track of everything our members need for
Very
many
good.
years.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Deborah?
TESOL International has been my professional home. And also, wherever in the world I lived, I was a member of the TESOL affiliate. I've been a member throughout different career changes. I've been a classroom teacher, a professor. I've worked in federal government. I've worked in different spaces. But TESOL has always been there with me, side by side. And I know without a doubt that I owe any career success that I've had, I owe it to TESOL International and the affiliates. My hope moving forward is that TESOL continues to be the professional home for our members throughout their careers as their careers change. I hope that TESOL continues to be a vibrant space, a vibrant community, and most of all, relevant to all of us here as members. That's my hope.
Excellent, relevant, inspiring. I love it. I love it. Justin, will you answer the same question?
Yeah. I look, no offense to anybody here, but I look at people here and I look at people I meet at the convention, and I see a lot of people who are from the same era as me. And so one of the things that I really hope TESOL does going forward is have a huge influx of a younger generation of teachers. I think we have all gained so much from TESOL, and the world's changing, the way people do professional development is changing, but I really hope that the younger generation of teachers can come and be as inspired, and that TESOL can become a professional home for them. I don't know exactly what needs to happen for that to take place, but I think that's where we need to go. So
Excellent, thank you. Jorge.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I hope TESOL reaches more and more members, especially international members. It
Mm-hmm.
continues growing, but also I hope TESOL can have some kind of regional conventions, like having not like the ones we have in the US, but maybe as like smaller version of the convention in partnership with affiliates from a region or from a specific country. That's what I would like to see in the future.
That sounds excellent. Challenging, but excellent. What an idea. Okay, and finally, Cynthia.
That's a hard question too, and everybody has said so many different wishes that I would also express. But I think that I would like to see TESOL become agile and in that respect able to remain relevant, but able to answer the needs of different people, different professionals, all of our constituents, both teachers, administrators, and students, that we will continue to seek, I don't know, there's something to spark joy in the
Mm-hmm.
people that are in this profession all around the world, that we will become, that will be able to embrace the beautiful aspects of all the different cultures that are part of our community. And I think that would bring people in and keep people here.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's not only about bringing them in, but about keeping them, helping them find their purpose in their organization. Very good point. Okay, we have finished the first part, which is the questions that all of you answered. So now I will ask a few questions, very few questions that I will ask specific people. We have talked about the moments that impacted your careers, or at least impacted your belonging to this organization. Now let's talk a little bit about what innovation and or new direction from the past few years you think shows how far TESOL has come. And I will ask this of two people, James and Justin. So, James, why don't you get started? What innovation or new direction from the past few years shows how far we have come?
I think one innovation, obviously, in terms of technology, is the rise of AI and all that it can do. I know that that's still very much up for debate, but over the many years, I've seen a great number of presentations, and we've been instructed for a lot of those years to sort of treat English as the main language of instruction. And I think for me, anyways, as I've viewed presentations on translanguaging and multilingualism as a monolingual myself, I always thought that that would be challenging for me. And I think with technology such as AI now, that it has opened an opportunity up to do more, seeing the whole student, the whole learner, being able to open up their entire linguistic repertoire without those obstacles and barriers that were there before, and to have more responsive pedagogy. And so I think there's a possibility of a future with technology that is more equitable, more inclusive, and allows for respectful, identities of the whole learner.
Good. Excellent. Justin.
Well, I was going to mention AI, but James beat me to it. So I'll go back a little bit farther. For me, the innovation is more about flexibility and being able to adapt. And so I'm thinking back to March of 2020 when pretty much the whole world was told, hey, stay home, you're teaching online. And just like we have with AI, the association has listened to its members. It's been responsive in providing resources and professional development that help people adapt to those situations. And also just the rallying of, I mean, I got, I don't know, I can't count the number, dozens, if not more, of emails of people like, what do I do? I have to teach online. I've never done that before, right? And I know that was just in the my TESOL, arena. I think that the community, the TESOL community itself, and the way that they respond in those types of situations, to me, is one of the best innovations. But I don't know that that's really an innovation. I think that's been happening for decades. So that's just one, that and the AI revolution, as we call it, are just two examples of that. So
Right. Although I would say that it's interesting you mentioned AI and our ability to adapt, because I think that our ability to adapt is absolutely necessary at the time of AI.
oh yes.
We have to adapt our ways of teaching and what we do with our students and how we engage them because we have AI. So I see the two that you brought up, the two as very, very connected.
But 20 years ago, we were saying the same thing about the internet, and the call IS was adapting then and providing, professional development on teaching with the internet, and now that's mainstream. So
Right, right.
I've seen that happen many times over my time in TESOL. So
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Another question. And this question is for Drew and for Larissa. And of course, I invite anybody else who really wants to add to this, please, to give us your perspective, because we are actually doing well in terms of time. So, Drew, which shifts in language education have been the most transformative for our work or for your work?
So, AI has already been brought up, so I'm not going to bring up AI in terms of that. But I will tell you something that's been very, very informative for me And just what I've been seeing a lot of recently has been the notion of educator identity influencing multilingual learner academic achievement and language proficiency. There's been a lot of work on looking and really self-reflecting on who am I? How have my own lived experiences affected how I'm understanding theories or theorists, affecting how I want to take different best practices and apply them, affecting how I'm understanding my students' daily situations outside of school as affecting their language learning. Looking inward has really helped me think about why would I do something differently than someone who sat next to me in all my classes, went through the same programs, but is approaching TESOL very differently. So when you're looking at an educator's intersectional identities, you're able to really understand a lot about what goes on in the classroom. And there have been numerous people recently who have been talking about this. If we take a look at a lot of the work that's coming out of the Global South and their own experience with working with this language that historically has had a lot of colonial issues going on with it. If you look at people who've looked at people who have female identities, I've done a lot of work with people who have queer identities and positions of leadership in the field, and how all of these factors come into how do you work with our multilingual learners to help them towards success? To me, that's not something that I was taught originally coming into this field. It was not something that was overtly discussed, but it plays such an important role. And very often, educators don't look inward to think about that. So that's been extremely transformative, just looking at the research and seeing it in practice.
Excellent. And I will ask Larissa the same question. Larissa, which shifts in language education have been most transformative for your work?
So we all mentioned about technology, but I think TESOL is the field where one of the areas of where teachers and professionals have to develop these skills while teaching, while applying. It's not like new, right? That how so teaching itself, language teaching itself is transformative. It transforms teachers. So they have to use technology. Just if we watch this since like early 60s, 70s, where audiovisual methods were used like as part of practice. And TESOL is very practical. This is where teachers come and get all these ideas and bring to the classrooms. And it's like natural part of using this on a daily basis, right? And our students as well. And it's been like also part of daily digital literacy that other fields just maybe have started just talking more frequently, but it's been in TESOL for years. And Luciana and I, we're finishing this literature review right now, and we found that the work that Mark Warshauer published in 1987, I guess, about AI. Can you imagine that at that time, linguistics already started talking, this is how TESOL is, and it's always been transformative. And right now, so I think that we, as TESOLers, again, the first who transform understanding, again, I'm bringing AI, understanding AI in different ways, how it serve and support learning and teaching instead of trying to understand how it looks like. So
Very good.
3 years ago, so all the presentation that probably, I'm in education technology and I attend all these association conferences where discuss some of them just coming to understanding for teaching and learning right now this year more, but TESOL started this long, like 3 years ago already. Yeah, that's what where I see transformative, transforming others.
We are at the forefront of changes. We're at the forefront. So, Araceli, what turning point in our organization's history still shapes how we serve ELT professionals today?
Yes. Well, to be ready for this celebration, for this year of celebration, I was reading about the history of TESOL, and I found that 5 associations, 5 different institutions got together and created TESOL. And I think that still stands in the center of our organization. Um, Collaboration,
Uh-huh.
putting efforts together, and the idea of serving teachers and serving people, I think those are still the the elements that shape our organization and our efforts now, in the past, now, and in the future.
In the future, collaboration.
Collaboration, service, and putting efforts together from
Right.
everywhere we are. We do something for TISO.
And I think that goes back to what Justin said earlier. That is what inspires us to work hard for our profession. Cynthia, I will ask you the same question. A turning point in our history as an association that still shapes how we serve our professionals.
I thought about it, and I wanted to say when TESOL added international to its name, because I think we have truly become an international organization, and I welcome that. But I would also like to highlight in the 1990s into the early 2000s. In the 1990s, when I was involved with TESOL, there were many of us who were part-timers. We were working, sometimes 7 jobs. I was working 7 days a week, 7 jobs, 53 contact hours just to make a living. There were a lot of us. And Len Fox, who was very active, helped spearhead a task force on part-timer concerns. I was on that task force. We planned that. Out of that came the caucuses. And we formed COPTIC, which was the Caucus on Part-Time something concerns. And I was one of the co-founders of that caucus, and we plowed ahead as best we could. But TESOL was kind of held back by the fear of our nonprofit, exemption status. And so we were being told that advocacy, lobbying, this kind of advocacy was not really, it was too risky. But then in about 2000, or 1996, John Segota was hired. And also Rosa Aronson was here. And under Rosa, TESOL was reorganized. The caucuses disappeared, unfortunately, which I didn't agree with. But I have to say that under John Segota, advocacy grew into something that is very vital, that it is very powerful. I saw over the years with the advocacy, he started the advocacy summit. We've had so many different things that I looked it up. I mean, the language teaching, advancing English language teaching through TESOL standards, educator leadership through advocacy. COPTIC was there, then turned into a forum. But what has happened now is that we have position statements in the mid-2000s. Advocacy is at the forefront, and especially now under Jeff, I think that we are presenting as strong as possible in the current, political and global situation. I think that TESOL is still here, and I would like to see more, but I think that the evolution of the association during those years
I think
made us into a different organization.
You have a very good point, and I will ask later a question of Justin that has to do with advocacy. So thank you. The evolution of how we respond to the needs as things change of the field is very important. Thank you. I will ask one final question to Deborah and to Jorge, and that is, what have you learned from our members that has stayed with you? We all learn from our colleagues. We learn from other members of TESOL. What have you learned from our members that has stayed with you? Deborah?
Sure, thank you. I love this question. because TESOL is first and foremost a member-based association.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is a celebration. So let's celebrate us for a moment. Let's talk about how wonderful we are. We are wonderful. We're the best profession in the world. And what I have learned from being a member, yay, do the applause, the explosions, yes. What I've learned from being a member for 25 years and then serving on the board in the presidential line for 6 years is that TESOL members are the heart of our profession,
Yeah.
right? TESOL members are the heart of our profession. We show up. We have very high expectations for ourselves. We are accountable. We are resilient. And no matter how difficult things might be at any time and at any place in the world, we are right there and we're resilient. And look for a moment who showed up today. We have some, I would say, giants in our field. Don't get embarrassed, but Diane Larson Freeman, right? We have past presidents. Yay, Diane. We have past presidents, Yilin and Lou. And I'm sorry, I'm not seeing everybody if I miss your name. Past board members, Kate. Current leaders, Yilin, Hilal. Let's celebrate who we are. What I have learned is TESOL's not going anywhere because our TESOL members are not going anywhere. We are here and we are going to mentor and bring up the next generation so TESOL can be here for us the way that it was here for us. Thanks, Jorge.
Can I interject?
Of course.
Based on Deborah's comment, because I'm NomCom liaison this year, we also have several future TESOL leaders that have joined us today. So
excellent point. Excellent point. Jorge, the same question that we asked Deborah.
Thank you. Yeah, many reasons to celebrate. Something I learned from someone who is in here, by the way, this is Deborah. I remember when she said last year that we can reclaim joy, especially in difficult times, especially whenever we see things going negative or wrong. We have to reclaim joy. And this is something that I learned and I keep it with me. Since last year that I heard this from Deborah, I think this is a nice way in which we can advance, right? And to feel better and confident in whatever we do in our class and also with our colleagues. And I also tell my students about this. Whenever you are in a difficult situation, difficult time, reclaim joy. And I wish I could introduce my students to Deborah, so you can tell her about. You can tell them about that, Deborah. But yes, that's something I remember a lot and something I learned from this member of TESOL.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Justin, I will invite you to, the last question is for you. And this is an important question that has been, in one way or another, already addressed, touched on by Cynthia talking about advocacy, and by others talking about how our field has to respond to changes in the world. And I will ask you, as the current president of the international organization, what is the role of TESOL in your perspective? What is the role of TESOL as an international organization in these times when the very idea of cultural and ethnic diversity is being challenged by governments in the USA, but also around the world? If we are an international organization, if we are as ethnically and culturally diverse and multilingual as an organization, Justin, what is the role of TESOL in this particular political moment?
Thank you, Federico. That is a very excellent question. And I think back to, I was just actually looking this up because I was going to reference it next week in my plenary. The very first TESOL member resolution that was approved back in 1971 focused on the importance of immigrants and learners being able to keep and use their first language. And so I think ever since the beginning of TESOL, we have been affirming the value of multilingualism and cultural diversity for our members and for those that look to us for expertise in English language teaching. So I think that is one really important role that we have, is to make sure that as we look to teach English and open opportunities for those that we teach, that we help them understand the importance of their own language and their own culture and the identity that they bring with them to an English speaking community.
Excellent.
I think also, as Cynthia mentioned, advocacy is really important. I think back to the statement on non-native English speaking teachers and how TESOL has been advocating for those teachers who are fighting against policies that say you have to be a native speaker of English to teach English, which we know is not true. I know several native speakers of English who wouldn't be able to teach English very well. So, and so I think that type of evidence-based policy, advocating for that type of evidence-based decision-making, I think is another important role that TESOL has. And also supporting our members who work in a variety of contexts and countries. At the board level, we've been talking about how we can take the wonderful advocacy efforts that are happening in the United States and not really replicate, because it doesn't translate the same way in other countries, but how we can support our members who are doing advocacy and who want to do advocacy in their own countries. How can we support them in the same way that we're able to support the members that are here in the United States? And, there are different governments in different contexts, different situations, and so not everything works out exactly the same way, but that's one of the roles that TESOL has, I think, in supporting an international membership, is how can we support those members in advocating for themselves and for their students.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, each one of you, for participating in this panel and answering these questions that are actually combine our personal experience with the changes in the organization, and they are important. I wanted to add one perspective, a personal perspective. I recently attended a performance of a Iranian play, a theater play called English, and it's for students and their teacher learning English to come either to the United States or to Australia, and for different reasons they're learning English. And I had a very difficult time with this play, even though it's really, really good, because the teacher is asking the students to leave their identities behind. She wants the students to have a new name and a new identity in the classroom. And I was thinking, oh my God, how has the world changed? The world of TESOL. Many of us learned that way, and many of us were told to leave our real foreign accents and foreign identities out of the classroom. But as TESOL evolved, we learned to bring the experience and the identity of our learners into the teaching and learning transaction. And I think that that is very important, not to leave them behind. Thank you for your contributions today. Thank you for starting the 60th anniversary celebration this well. I'm not sure, when do we have a few minutes for questions? I did not see any questions, many comments, but I don't know if there are any questions.
I haven't seen any questions for the group. I did put that in the chat. I did. Oh, wait, let me see. Lou asked a question. Let me go back up here and see. Oh, Lou had asked if we could acknowledge that many TESOL members are not able to attend the convention this year. So I don't know if Justin or someone wants to speak to this.
Yeah, I can. I definitely acknowledge that many members are not able to come, especially given the very recent events happening in the Middle East. There are people that have had to cancel because they can't fly and all of that. So that is something that the board and and Danielle here as well are very aware of. There are a few options for people who aren't able to attend the convention physically to participate in terms of some of the sessions are being, I believe the sessions are being recorded, Danielle, right? Or no,
The
sorry, I'm
keynote,
thinking of the virtual convention.
but the
Those sessions,
keynotes, yeah.
the keynotes are being recorded, and the virtual conference stuff from November is actually still available. So there is an opportunity for people to connect with that content as well. And it's something that I'm always very interested in, being a techie person. I'm very interested in how we can bring TESOL around the world through virtual types of activities and engagement. So that's something that that we've been looking at. But I don't know, Danielle, if you wanted to add anything to that.
No, not to the participation side, but for what it's worth, for people who can't attend, because of whatever reason, their airspace is closed or whatnot, when we return, we'll be issuing refunds to folks who have, let us know that I can't come because of X, Y, and Z. We don't want to make it difficult for anybody. We just want to make it easy and clean and hope that all the craziness that's happening all around the world will settle down in time for Houston.
Let's hope. I am going to bring you all to my home. I am in Houston. For those who don't know, I am in Houston. Cynthia, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, this is actually for Danielle, but I was just at a networking event for higher ed, and one of the participants is in Saudi, and she said that her teachers are coming, but she's afraid that they might not come back, be able to get back. Are we, maybe this shouldn't be asked here, but are we making, maybe we should think about helping people that might not be able to get back, that may get stranded. I don't know what to do, but I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention. We'll talk about it internally and figure out what is feasible for us to do, or
Right.
if
Okay.
it's, just collecting a set of resources for everyone, or what is possible.
Yeah. Well, but it is great to learn about possibility of refunds for those who are not able to come. Things are very difficult right now. Any other comments? It is a
Oh,
critical time
Yeah.
indeed.
Hi,
Deborah
Federico.
had her hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to lift up a comment. I think it was Araceli who said just recently that TESOL will always be here, right? And we will. You don't get to be 60 years old, and I speak from experience. You don't get to be 60 years old without being resilient and continuing to move forward. So, in spite of the difficulties we are facing, we have been through worse, and we will get through this as well. As Araceli said, TESOL will always be here for all of us.
Justin, thank you, Deborah. That is very reassuring, and I like it. Justin, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to come back to for those that aren't able to attend, sorry, for those that are able to attend the convention, I would come prepared to collect handouts, take notes, gather all the information that you can so that when you go back and you connect with those that weren't able to attend the convention, you can share those ideas that you learned and the things that you gleaned from the convention. That's one way I think that as members we can help those that aren't able to come in person for by being the presenters and sharing those ideas that we learned. So I just want to throw that out there too.
Very good. And there is a suggestion by Ali, an online repository would be great so that we can help them access presentations and community. Thank you, everyone. It's now 3:59, 2:59 for me. And if there is no other comment, I think we have done great. I am so looking forward to the conference next week. Would love to see you. And I think that this is for Gwen and for the rest of the team that put together the celebration. This question of a moment in our careers that stands out is something that maybe needs to be moved online and be kept alive for the whole year, inviting other members from around the world. I see Lucilla from Rome, members from around the world to answer some of these questions. What moment stays with you? What change in the way that we teach English has impacted your career? So maybe we need to put this online.
Oh, well, and I was just going to jump in and say we have a post on social media today for Founders Day, and we're asking for comments on that. So, anyone who is on here, feel free to go to the social media sites and comment.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, everyone who registered, and of course, members of the panel. Thank you for your expertise and for your perspective. And happy Founders Day to everybody. Happy 60th anniversary. We should be singing happy birthday, but we will next week in Salt Lake City. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. It's good to see you.
Bye.
Nice
Bye-bye.
to see you, Federico.
Likewise.
Thank you, Federico.
Thank you, Drew. Good to see you.
See you all next week.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Federico. Thank you, Gwen. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.